global conglomerate Hitachi, in partnership with the Times Network, organized the Hitachi Social Innovation Forum 2016. The forum aimed to address increasingly complex rapid urbanization issues through collaborative creation. On the previous episode of the Hitachi Social Innovation Forum 2016, we saw a gripping panel discussion on the transition from traditional to digital banking and the challenges and enablers that come along the way. Hello and welcome to the third episode of the Hitachi Social Innovation Forum 2016. On today's episode, we bring to you a captivating discussion on the importance of a robust IT infrastructure and how it is crucial for businesses to sustain and succeed in a fast-paced environment.
We would love to know what's happening with construction, manufacturing, oil and gas, all the heavy machinery, what role IT infra is playing there. So if we can start with you, Mr. Ghosh, at M&M, but not just Tech Mahindra, the other parts as well.
I will stick to rather outside Tech Mahindra, which will be probably of more interest. See, you mentioned data center. Data center is actually a very drab place. If you enter, you will not like it. It is cold. There are no people inside. You will see cable and noise constantly. It will actually, after some time, it is irritating. But that is the heart of the delivery of the application. So, gentlemen expressed about digital, right? What we see as a consumer, what we see is the application and the interface, or what we work. But to deliver it, there is a huge amount of infrastructure that gets into. So, look at servers, storage, network, data center, and everything together is actually able to deliver that. No matter what application, or whether it is bank or financial institution or manufacturing, that is what is delivering. So that kind of remains in the back end, but extremely important. And if it doesn't work, the application will not get delivered. So the businesses, what we try to achieve through those applications will just not be able to achieve. The screen will just go blank.
Mr. Prabhu, are you seeing IT infra changing things for you, despite oil prices crashing there?
If you ask me, for us, IT infrastructure, basically my manager or the MD always says that you guys are business enablers and not the support function. So he calls us more of business enablers and not the support function. From an infrastructure point of view, the infrastructure is evolving. There is cloud, there is everything as a service that is coming in. From our business point of view, there is a huge amount of business growth that is we are expanding in retail. So we have our petrol stations being set up almost 2 to 3 every day. You don't see them in Mumbai, but outside Mumbai there are many which are coming up. So for us, a 24/7 availability is very important. Now, when you look at infrastructure, typically you have or information security on infrastructure. Typically you have confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Right. In case of oil and gas, is actually gets reversed. It is availability first because our refinery has to run 24/7. Then you have the integrity because every data or whatever instructions go in the refinery have to be accurate. And the last one is the confidentiality part. So for us, availability, and in case of infrastructure, the availability becomes utmost important, and that is how we look at infrastructure for SRO.
Right. We'd love to hear the L&T perspective. These days everybody is scared that robots are going to overtake their jobs because, that's the pace of development that's happening. Do you foresee a future where perhaps we'll have robots doing all the heavy lifting and, building the metros for us?
L&T is largely into project business, and IT infrastructure means for L&T is always available. I'll answer her question regarding robotics, but in a different way. The main thing is in Larsen & Toubro, the challenge what we face is that they want an experience of a commercial world sitting in a corporate world. The demand for IT, the user experience from IT is how closely we can match like Uber, Ola or Meru's type of experience what we are going to give to them. And for us, IT is a lifeline of Larsen & Toubro's business. Like good old days when you used to have only man, material, and machines, the big addition over there is called a web. And without that, nothing works. And there are umpteen number of examples we can go ahead to do that. Coming back to the robotic question, L&T has taken a great step towards aligning with partnership of General Electric, where we are going to enable our all back-end machines for doing performance management, health checking, and things like that. Robots will definitely come, but they will call a soft robot in our business. We would like to get rid of a lot of support staff which is working in various organizations using chatbots. And a good amount of experimentation is we are experimenting it and trying to do a first phase of pilot in the next 2 to 3 months. I don't see right now the robots in lifting, but definitely robotics has gone into workshops towards very specialized welding. They can sense seam, they can sense the job, they can sense the material, and that's how some of our very prestigious jobs, what we have delivered to Indian Navy, they have been enabled with doing robotic welding, and that's where our experience goes.
Right. That's scary at one level, the kind of jobs getting replaced. I hope, robots don't replace journalists as well, but I'm sure a lot of people would like that. Yeah. But Anuj, just coming to you, one question that, IT managers or, always have to grapple with is, when is the correct time to upgrade your IT infra, and do I really have to spend money on that? Can I make do with it? Do I have to replace or upgrade? Has that conversation become more intense now because of digital? I'm sure you're going and, telling them you have to spend on discretionary, you have to spend on digital. So, have those conversations intensified now? Do they have to upgrade? Do they have to replace?
So let me give one perspective. Today we are a 1.3 billion population, right? About 250, 300 million on the internet. As per 2020 report, about 600 people will be on the internet. We are about 250 million penetrated smartphone users. We'll be about 500 million by 2020. So what this throws is consumerization of IT, right? The entire use, abuse, and the entire usage of IT within the consumerization. So in this, IT needs to be robust, needs to be agile, and it definitely needs to be innovative. In doing all of this, we need to empower the user more and more. We need to ensure that the user is getting the best of tools, the best of devices. He's at any point in time more productive and efficient than what he was earlier. So in doing all of this, IT plays the most critical part. It has to be robust. It has to transform. It has to be an enabler, right? And again, an enabler, facilitator. At any point in time, it has to transform. Right. So your conversation, yes, our conversations with most of the CIOs, the CEOs, is about how IT will transform, how this digitalization or the onslaught of digital data that is coming in the environments, in the enterprises, how do they cope up with it, what do they do, and how do they go about it? Is definitely a question every day, and I'm sure there's a boardroom discussion as well at any point in time.
I'm sure he hopes you're discussing it, more, your IT budgets keep going up. But with that, I'm going to go to Sumit again for a round of audience, actually for an audience poll.
Exactly. Thank you so much for that. It's time for our favorite audience poll. We love to hear from you guys. Here's your question for you for this session. It says, are Indian companies leveraging cloud computing to enhance their business as much as they can? Yes or no? There it is. 45.83% say yes. 54% are saying no. 56 it's gone up to. Very slim margin, almost split half and half. This will be something really interesting for Chandra, for you and the panel to talk about. But quickly, before I come back to you, I'll just take one or two audience questions if they have something on IT infrastructure, if there are a couple of questions.
The basic challenge of being a IT strategic designer for the company is that the infrastructure is getting outdated very fast, and so is the applications on it. The challenge remains with our team, our IT team, is how to make sure they're not outdated.
That's right. We're getting so much of data, we don't know what to do with it because all the applications are, 5 years old. So, you have to answer this. They can't, they're counting on you.
So again, as they say, data is your new digital asset, right? That is the asset. So It was about 5 years back where OPEC, the oil nations, were dictating the economies. I think the future is all about how digital are you, how much control you have over your data, what are the analysis you can do with the data, right? What are the insights you can drive out of it, and effectively make outcome-based decisions. So everything revolves around data. The point is that today, the whole technology spectrum is changing so fast and so quick that it's never the right time to upgrade or not. It's never the right time to, whether it's outdated or not, right? So at every point in time, you got to take a use case, evolve that use case, and start growing on that. Because you never know in 2 years, that use case that you had will not be relevant after 2 years. So again, I strongly feel, and I always say that this is the time of destruction and disruption, right? Businesses are going to get destroyed who are traditional, who are not waking up, who are not getting awakened to the fact that they have to move into the newer technology. Disruption from the way we are doing business, right? Classic example, I think yesterday Google announced they're getting into financial sector, right? The UPI, which NPCI is doing, the Geo launch, right? All of this, what is it doing? It's going to destroy or destruct the way businesses are done and disrupt the way we're going to be doing our business. So yes, it's never too late. It's never too early. You've got to be on the ride all the time.
It's time now for a short break. The panel discussion on the importance of a robust IT infrastructure continues on the other side. We'll be right back.
So whoever says cloud is cheap is not cheap, right? It's again about what you want to do with it, what are the features you're looking at it. And again, the whole system integrator community, people like us, we are all in that cusp where we are evolving our business model.
Welcome back. You're watching the Hitachi Social Innovation Forum 2016. Our eminent panelists continue to share their thoughts and ideas about the importance of a robust IT infrastructure for businesses in today's rapidly changing environment.
Is cost the biggest driver when you decide to change IT infra? I mean, he said, I don't wait to respond to competition. I would rather be proactive. But is cost a key driver there in actually deciding what to do about IT infra?
No, in probably our case, cost is not the driver. While it is one of the component when you do the evaluation, the primary thing is how it is adding value to the business. How is it allowing business to respond to the changes those are happening in the market? So I'll give you an example. Crude that we bring into the country. Once upon a time it was 150. Today it is between 40 and 50. It's a large gap, and today the way it swings, you have to do lot of checking or lot of evaluation before you actually put the crude to processing. Now, are my machines or the servers which are helping me to evaluate crude, are they sufficiently equipped? And that is where it matters. If I look at cost and bring some lower end servers or lower end infrastructure, if my crude evaluation process takes time, I have lost opportunity, and the scale that at which we operate, it may not really help.
See, the cost is actually very important. We should not see that I'll not look at cost. Cost means a lot of learning for the organization as to what I'm trying to achieve at what cost. But at the same time, we should not hinder any of the IT projects, because there is an element of risk when IT projects are implemented. So we have to convince first ourselves so that we can convince the organization, the board, to take up major risk for transformation. Many of investment what we made few years back, they were so expensive that in today's world, you go to somebody and say, I want to spend money, probably the answer is no. But you see the value delivery maybe not immediately, but after some time. It is very good investment to create infrastructure, look at the future, and take bold steps also to move forward. And that's where the IT will pay you back. IT will not pay you back next day, but you have to assume something, work on it, and extract juice out of it. That's where
you need to convince your management that there is some long-term gain.
Definitely.
Okay.
So I would like to just add here, because we deal with almost all different organizations. We interact with CFOs, CEOs. At what we are seeing, the biggest change now is that if there is a business case, if there is revenue which will come in because of this technology change, the organizations are really willing to look at it. But if it's just about upgrading what your infra is, I think the money is going down there. But if it's going to enable business in a newer way, in a new way you deliver to your customer experiences, which will drive revenue. We are seeing huge amount of money coming in.
That's actually a counterintuitive trend.
Completely.
Yeah. When I look at startups, and I'm saying startups because I'm based in Bangalore, every second company is a startup. The adoption of cloud is huge, because of Amazon Web Services, also the kind of cost at which it comes. Do you think, it's restricted to some of the new age companies, the traditional players, cloud adoption among SMEs, among traditional players? It's still fairly low. It's just getting there.
For a startup, it makes huge sense to start with the cloud. It just doesn't make sense to invest, create this thing. And typically when you are saying startup, I also assume there is a connotation that it may fail or it may succeed hugely. Both are difficult when you're making a capital investment.
Thinks 90% startups are nonsense.
That's but then when it succeeds, it scales up so fast. Then if you make your investment, it would be difficult to match in-house investment. So they will always go. So greenfield, I think startup or any kind of thing will tend to go towards cloud. There's no doubt about it. But the established companies who have for the last 25, 30 years have invested into this. Say, for example, let's take our case. We have a cloud first policy, right? But we also have a data center. Right. We also look at security, the ability of the cloud service providers to deliver and be with us as a partner, right? Not just a service provider. So every refresh, I will look at it whether, hardware refresh of any kind, will look at it whether I can position it in cloud, right? Some of the cases it is feasible, some of the cases it is not feasible. But if you ask me, can you stop my data center? Right? The answer is no, because I have investment tied to it. The investment tied to it, so servers and the network equipment typically have a life from anything from 4 to 6 years.
Right.
So if I'm in the mid-cycle, it is very difficult to get a value proposition that I will move it to cloud and get it. And the other thing I would like to make, cloud is not cheap. Right? Cloud has different advantages. You can't do a pure return on investment calculation. It just doesn't work.
On the cloud piece, actually, all the discussions are, since we are now evolved and we understand security, we'll pose the first question, say to Hitachi, is it secure? Is it, my data going to be, what happens if I exit from you?
Right.
The moment you start from the end to the first, you obviously have a challenge of adopting the cloud. But if you look at, you have these many advantages, your business is scaling like this, I think cloud adoption would be far more easier and far more simpler to any organization.
Again, just to what Vikas added, right, on the system integrator and the maturity that system integrators have. So first, to you, this thing, it's not cheap. So whoever says cloud is cheap is not cheap, right? It's again about what you want to do with it, what are the features you're looking at it. And again, the whole system integrator community, people like us, we are all in that cusp where we are evolving our business models. We are coming to outcome-based business models, right? We are working with customers. Actually, at a lot of places, we learn with the customer because there are such use cases that come to us which we've not even dreamt of. The kind of loads we have spoken about, traditional data centers have not seen those loads. So it's a complete learning curve. And yes, I agree that we are not 100% equipped to give you answers for that, but yes, it's the journey which has begun. And in 2 years, your poll, this which is 60-40, would be probably 95-5. 95 on adoption, 5% still wanting to adopt.
So at the 6th edition of the Hitachi Social Innovation Forum, we'll ask this question again.
I don't think you need to ask the question.
It will be obvious knowledge by then. Okay, but I will ask another question to the audience. Has your organization ever seen a breach of security due to a cyber attack? And the poll results are 40% say yes and 60% say no.
I'm sure none of you would want to say yes to that question.
If you ask individually anybody that whether you have been attacked, generally the answer will be no. But cyber attacks have really gone up in last 24 months with the experience what we have. Obviously, this will never go to public domain and you will not know exactly what has happened. But some amount of something has happened which needed an attention. And about 1.5 years back, we had constituted IT Security Council, consisted of all the so-called security officers, and it is chaired by a chief security officer in reports to me in our department. And we have come out with a great framework which has to be implemented across the whole company with a time frame. This has really yielded very good results, and last 4 to 5 months we are not finding much coming, because the majority of the steps what we have taken is that we have improved detection like anything.
I just want to get closing comments from you on this very important issue, because I'm sure a lot of people want some reassurance on this. The fact that cyber attacks have gone up, and you see it happening to the government, to organizations, to just about everyone.
So I think this poll is wrong, because all of us have been breached. I might sound harsh, let's not live in a fool's paradise. It's inevitable. Everyone has been breached. The problem is that we don't know that we are breached. As he said, the detection technologies. Today, cyber attacks, so there are two types of, there's cyber security or cyber attacks, and then there are the information security attacks, right? And both are at their all-time high. So again, in today's organizations, all the organizations and all the enterprises who are sitting on the left, all of them are doing one thing, that is, how fast can you react to the incident? What is the incident management policy? As when I said they made a team of, the Council of Security, right? How fast do you respond to the incident? That's the only way you can really live with it. Other than that, there is definitely penetration happening as we talk, and it's going to go on. It's only about how much can you be robust, how fast can you wake up and start reacting to it.
We certainly hope you enjoyed this panel, and it gave you an idea of the kind of IT infrastructure that you need, the plumbing that you need to build a digital enterprise. Thank you so much, and thank you to all the panel.
That's all on this episode of the Hitachi Social Innovation Forum 2016. Next week, as we wrap up the Mumbai edition of the forum, we'll bring you a panel discussion about the role of information technology and information communication technology in increasing railway capacity in India. Goodbye for now, and many thanks for watching.